I made a huge mistake while we're finishing this dresser, so stick around if you want to see what happened and how it turned out. Also, welcome to my page, Kara's Living Space. Let's hang out while I show you how I update this free dresser I picked up from Facebook Marketplace. First, let's clean. I'm just using a bucket of soapy water and a sponge to wipe down all the dirt and grime. The next step is to sand. I'm using my Ryobi orbital sander with 120 grit just to scuff sand this dresser. Scuff sanding means you just take the shine. You don't need to take all the varnish off. As long as the shine is off, then you can start priming next. Now I am prepping my drawers with painter's tape. I'm putting 2 strips of painter's tape around the edges so that when I spray my primer and paint on the drawers, I do not get overspray inside and on the sides of the dresser. Believe me, this is tedious, but it saves me time in the long run, so I don't have to go sanding over any overspray. Okay, I am going to share one of my most favorite hacks with you guys that will save you time. But before I do that, notice I'm just using something to cover the drawers. That's just a cut off piece of cardboard that I use for extra protection from overspray. And it's such a useful hack. But the most important hack that I want to share is that primer I'm using is not water-based. It's bin shellac primer. It works so great. It saves me so much time in a sprayer. And most people avoid that because they don't want to clean it up. It's not water-based. But what I do is I don't clean it. That's the hack. I've had it in there for like 3 months and I just keep refilling it and I've had no problems. The only thing I would suggest is to detach that container and keep it in your house so that it stays at good room temperature. It doesn't overheat. And clumps, because the last thing you want is clumpy primer. After I prime my furniture, I can see more clearly any scratches or bumps that I missed. So I go in with my Bondo glazing and spot putty to just fill in any of those dents. And then I use my sanding sponge to sand it all nice and smooth. I also sand over the entire piece even though I didn't fill it in, just to make it nice and smooth, ready for the paint to go on. Okay, here's where everything starts to go downhill. I'm using this paint for the first time. It's bare urethane alkali enamel paint. It's for cabinets and furniture. But what I did is I added Floetrol, which I normally do if it's really hot, because the Floetrol helps my paint to level out longer. It takes more time, which is perfect when it's really hot. So I'm mixing it. It's looking good. I'm spraying it. I'm loving the color. Isn't that a beautiful green? The color is Sherwin-Williams pewter green. So yeah, let's just take a moment to enjoy this. I am spray painting. I go 50% over each row just to give it an even coat. It's looking so good. And while the paint dries, I get a delivery from Amazon. I ordered some new legs for this dresser, and it's the first time I've actually added legs like this to a dresser before. The legs came unfinished. They were still quite rough, so I just sanded them smooth with 120 grit, and now I'm going to prime and paint them. So I'm using my special canister just for bin shellac primer, and I'm priming everything down, feeling really positive about this, guys. While the legs were drying, I went to check out my first coat of paint on the dresser, and to my surprise, I found all these little bumps on it. It did not level out like I was hoping with the Floetrol. So I decided to wet a sponge and a sponge sander, and I sanded it all down lightly, hoping that would solve the problem. Then I went and I spray painted these legs. I really love the color pewter green. Isn't that a beautiful color? Not too dark and not too light. Okay, so my paint did not dry yesterday. So I left it overnight to see if it just needed more time, and look at this. Look at that. This never happens. I've been scratching it. Look at all that. It's just scratching off. Ugh. So I tried something different with this paint. I bought urethane alkali enamel paint, and then I decided to mix some Floetrol with it, which helps it to level out. It takes longer time to level out, so if it's sunny, you know, it won't dry too fast, and it will just give it enough time to level out. Well, apparently you can't mix Floetrol with urethane alkali enamel paint. Usually I don't use this, and I don't use this. I just felt like mixing both of them today, well, this week. And the reason I got this is because it saved me $3, maybe, I think it was just under $3, instead of buying my normal beer cabinet enamel paint. Sometimes it's worth paying the extra $3 so that I should just stick to what I know. But I mean, these lessons help me to learn. So for you guys, don't make the same mistake I did. Don't get this and mix it with this. But you can use this by itself, just not with this. So I get to resand all of this today, when I was hoping to finish today, but nope, got a little bit more work to do. I didn't think I needed to re-prime the entire dresser because I hadn't sanded it all down to bare wood, but as you can see, there are some parts that were sanded down to bare wood, so I was going to spot spray those parts with this shellac spray that I had lying around, but because I didn't want to go through the entire process again of resanding everything if I missed anything, I just decided to go over everything. Because I didn't want to spend any more money on paint, I used what paint I had on hand. Even though I really wanted to use pewter green, I had wasted all of it. I used this beautiful Sherwin-Williams color called Shade Grown, and it's really popular. Every time I spray with it, it sells really fast, so I'm using that. Good news, guys. I did the scratch test on the first coat of paint and it passed. It did not scratch off. So now I am spraying with a second coat of paint and feeling really hopeful and really happy that this project is finally turning out. It's still wet, but this is after the third coat of paint, and that's just the wood grain you see shining through. But I'm so happy with how this is turning out. And I don't need to add top coat because if I use Sherwin-Williams urethane enamel paint, it has top coat included. I am almost done. I'm just putting this peel and stick wallpaper on my drawers to line them. And I'm loving this floral print. It's the first time I've used it. It's really thick, so it goes on really well. And I feel like the color coordinates so well with Sherwin-Williams Shade Grown.
Getting sprung, we used to dance the night away, hang out the whole next day, laughing, having fun.
time to replace these outdated legs. They came off so easily, I just needed to twist them off. And the legs I ordered, they were an inch taller because I felt like this dresser needed a little bit of height. So they come with a metal plate. I ran out of space on my phone, so it died before I could record everything. But you just basically screw the legs to the metal plate and then screw the metal plate onto the dresser. Okay, this is my favorite part. Here's the before. This was a beautiful dresser, solid wood, pottery barn, great structure, but just looked really old and outdated. And here's the after. What do you think of the new legs? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to Kara's Living Space so you don't miss out on what I flip next.